darkness, not the life who's stressing loneliness. Dundee and the world of targets. With no more life left of some my craving lips. Closer on freezing ground, get down limitless light. Is God. Is God. Is God. Spurs that on me. To it. It's my body. 呼吸からマルチの香りが心地の夜漂う鮮血染まる未来の時激しく燃える本能冷たい体にほとばしる欲望を赤い血で潤す快楽の叫び響く夜にするく脈打つ本能呼吸からマルチの香りが甲骨の夜に漂う鮮血染まる未来の時激しく燃える本能
There are only 3 STARS members left now. Captain Wesker, Jill, and myself. We don't know where Barry is.
Chris Redfield. Jill Valentine. Barry Burton. Rebecca Chambers. Albert Wesker. Resident Chicken Zero.
Oh shit, I forgot what screen it was, David. I think it's this screen. That looks good.
What a fantastic intro.
That looks good.
First moments, opening moments. Oh, that was fantastic intro.
And then I gotta fuck it up with my sound check. Alright, we're good. We are live. Hello everybody, this is Resident Chicken Zero. Got my good friend David here, and tonight I'm gonna be telling David a fun story that I don't think I've told David before, and he's going to keep me from sounding... David, you have a hard job ahead of you, buddy.
Okay.
I got fucked in the ass, and I want to tell you about how I got fucked in the ass, and you have to keep me from being too angry or disrespectful or outspoken. Just all the things that you know I'm going to do and I'm capable of, you have to keep me from going too far. Can you keep me reined in? Is the question.
Asking me, you're asking me to rein you in for this.
If you can.
I don't even know what the situation is. What if my bias interferes with this?
Just pretend that I'm the asshole. Everybody watching this, pretend I'm an asshole. And that shouldn't be too difficult. I am an asshole.
Pretend you're an asshole right now. I don't want to hear the story. Got it?
Well, no, you do want to hear the story. It's a good story. Trust me.
All right.
Okay, there's a lot. I'm about to unload some shit on the world. I'm gonna open the can of worms, if you will. David, before we go into this too far, I had a very emotional week.
Yeah, we haven't had a whole lot going on this last week in America at all. This is a good time for you to give us more.
We're going to talk about the movie Dollface, Terror on Route 9. This might piss some people off. I warned David at the beginning that he's gonna keep me from... Did I already say it on the show? Because we were talking before.
Yeah, you said that.
Oh, I'm going to be an asshole.
I need to keep you on the straight and narrow or some shit.
So this happened 5 years ago, and before we get into it, before I set it up, I've tried to make this video before. I've wanted to tell this story for a long time, but I don't want to come off bitter. I don't want to be mean. I'm gonna be mean to one person, and I'm only gonna say two names. So you're gonna have to kind of follow the story without names, because a lot of people that I care about worked on this movie, and they worked hard. I'm not gonna talk shit about the movie. We're not gonna watch them. I had thought about maybe watching the movie and doing commentary, but I feel like I don't want to tear this movie apart, right? Because
Fair. That's fair.
it's something that mattered to me at one point, and I don't want to come off like bitter. A little jaded, but not bitter, okay?
Yeah, that's fair.
So, 2019, I was living in a little cottage along a creek with my son, who I've been struggling with his mom at that point, and I had him most of the time. And I don't want to go too far into it, but we were in a custody battle, and I went from having him all the time to 2 days a week. I was pissed off. I just started school.
I remember you were having a pretty tough time around that.
I figured out how to go to court. I never dealt with a judge or a lawyer or any of that stuff, or the cops. I've never, and I was interacting with all these people regularly. So by this point, I had my son 2 days a week, and we were, it was a civil case kind of thing. So we were working it out, and but I was pissed off at this point. The first month of all this, I was just crying, and I spent the night at my parents' house. It was bad, dude. It was so scary. Because
Dude, I bet.
Well, I went from, I had depression issues and stuff, and when my son was born, and I cleaned up, everything was good. Life was great. So to have somebody try and take that from me for selfish reasons that had nothing to do with me was really weird to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, how many sons are you going to get? How many Charlies are there going to be?
One and done. I'm over
Exactly.
I'm over
well, I
it.
mean, even if you had other kids, there's always Charlie. There's always your first son.
It's cool because my wife has kids, but they're all girls. So Charlie is the only boy, and then I have my daughters, and they're all growing up really fast. So we're gonna have Charlie. Now, even my granddaughter, I have a granddaughter. I have one boy, so it worked out. But and to, I don't want to get into the custody stuff. My son's mom's
The
doing.
Gilliland line ends here.
Yeah. Well, it ends with Charlie now. It was with me.
Yeah.
And to his mom's credit, as there was a lot of animosity and anger towards one another. All that's gone. She's married now. She has a great husband. Everything's cool now, right?
Oh, well, that's nice.
We talk to each other regularly. There's no fighting. I mean, we bicker sometimes. The girl can't get the kid to school on time is our biggest problem now. At this point, we were fighting over, I want my kid, you can go away. And it's no, I want my kid, you can go away. It was crazy. So I'm at, pretty much the lowest point of my fatherhood days. And I'm working full-time. I have all this time on my hand. Up to this point, Charlie was almost 2 years old, and I'd been taking care of him every day up to about this point. And so I had 5 days a week from that situation until I didn't know when it was going to end, It ended up ending in January of 2020, and everything was fine. So it all worked out. Just at the beginning of the story, I was in a custody battle. I lived in a cute little cottage. I had all this free time on my hand. I was managing a gas station. And my landlord, I don't really want to say her name. I'm going to say her name. Darius, my landlord, sweetest old lady ever. I lived in that house for almost 7 years. No problems. She was great. And when I first moved into my cottage, before Charlie was born, I had a roommate, my friend Lindsay, lived with me. And Darius's son, who's a weird guy, I'm not going to say his name, weirdo, lived there. And this son does not like me at all. I tried so hard to be this guy's friend. This dude had from what I never went in the house. I think I went in the house to help Darius with someone one time, but I never was on his part of the house. But he had a room just full of movies, I guess, DVDs. And it's
nice.
I'm the best tenant ever, dude. I collect movies too, but he hated me because I think he had a crush on Lindsay, and he assumed me and Lindsay were together. That's the vibe I got. He never said anything to me.
I know, but it's I wish I could say it was uncommon for people, even in their adulthood, to just, keep up that high school shit.
Yeah, and I don't want to. I hope he doesn't see this, but I wouldn't consider this guy an adult. He still lives with his mom, and anyways, I see him every once in a while. He'll respond to me, but you could tell he hates my guts. But just so you know, if you ever see this man, we weren't dating. You could have kept making her uncomfortable with your weirdness if you wanted to. Like, I wasn't a threat to that. Maybe it was because I'm a 6'5" like big man. Like, maybe he was like, oh, this guy's gonna keep me from creeping on her. I don't know what.
Man, these stupid Chads getting all the chicks.
And Lindsay and I only lived together for a year, and then Charlie was on his way, and she let me keep the house, and she moved into a different house because she's like the best roommate I ever had, other than my wife.
Yeah.
You know, she was a good friend.
Nice.
She was like, "Hey, I'm gonna move out. You keep the house because you got a baby on the way," and she knew things are not so good with my situation. But anyways. But she had moved out by this point, and this guy was still weird with me. But this is important. Darius is a key part of this story, and why I have the resentment I've had for 5 years. I'm going to get back to Darius later. Her son is friends with the director of Dollface. So the two names I am going to say, well, now it's 3 names because I mentioned Darius, but 4 names I mentioned. It doesn't matter. The 2 names with Dollface I'm going to mention is Jeff.
I'm going to try to mitigate the harm in my story.
I'm going to talk about Jeff. I don't hate Jeff. He's okay. He's kind of a piece of shit, but he's okay. Him and I don't get along, but we like each other, and he's kind of like the older version of me, only more fucked up. He's like he's the more metal version of me, if that's even possible. But I guess I don't need to keep this on, do I?
I don't know. Maybe for the thumbnail.
Yeah, it looks good, but it keeps... Okay, Jeff...
Make sure you do that YouTube, whatever, like, reaction face that you put on your thumbnail.
I'm going to leave this on. It's on Tubi.
Oh.
And these 2 guys right here are great. I'm not... Well, now there's a bunch of names on it. Whatever.
I can't see them, so the resolution isn't picking up on it.
So Jeff directed this movie, and I had no clue who Jeff was at this time. And then I'm going to mention a man named Brandon. I'm not going to give last names. You can look him up. But Brandon is garbage human being. I have no problems with talking about my interaction with him and why I have that opinion. This isn't going to be a slanderous or anything, but he's a fucking piece of shit. So,
all right. Well, you just said it wasn't going to be slanderous. So
no. Slander is if you say something that's not true, right? If you say something about somebody's character that's not, I can back up the fact that he's a piece of shit, so we're okay.
Okay, you can mathematically prove that.
Yeah, this will hold up. Yeah, I can You're gonna think he's a piece of shit when I'm done. I promise.
Okay.
Jeff is not a piece of shit on that same level. He's just kind of a piece of shit.
Do we need a chart?
No, man. I'm gonna go to the story. Okay, I'm living in my little cabin.
I just want to know what metrically is the level of piece of shit we're all working on here.
David, I'll let you decide if he's a piece of shit by the end of the story.
Okay, fair enough.
Brandon, not Jeff. Jeff and I are still... Jeff might see this, and Jeff might get really mad. But, live in my little cottage. I'm depressed. I'm working at a gas station. I'm going to school. I know what career I want to do, and I want to get my son back. I'm struggling at this point. So it's September of 2019, and at the gas station, my friend... What do I call her?
How many female friends do you have in this story?
The main one is... her and her husband, or her boyfriend at the time, they have a kid together. They were living on a ranch, and they were providing the locations for this movie. I was friendly with her because she had ran a sandwich shop years before that I would eat at all the time, and we just became friends. She's a really cool girl.
That sounds sick. That sounds dope. I like that.
She's cool. This movie totally fucked up their relationship, though. We'll get into that. As far as I can tell,
their whole ass relationship.
Yeah, they're not together anymore, and it ended shortly after this movie. Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't want to say her name, but just so she knows, I have no ill will towards her, and I'm not even judging her. It was a bad situation, but she comes into the gas station and goes, "Hey man, you like horror movies, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude." And she's like, "Well, they're doing a casting call for a slasher movie that's gonna be filmed locally at the comic book store, which was Five Titans at the time." I was familiar with the owner of Five Titans, one of the owners of Five Titans. He's an ex-Marine, whatever. And I went, you know what? I'm gonna go to that. I have a free afternoon. I don't know what to do with myself right now. Maybe if I get involved in something. I'm not directing. I don't know if you know this, David, but directing a movie is a monumental pain in the ass. It's so difficult.
What? I never would have thought.
It is an orchestra of so much shit. I love directing. It's fun, but like I'm getting ready to do a movie soon, and I'm like very nervous. And keep in mind, like,
why?
huh?
I wonder why.
It's so fun. It's so fun, but it's also like it consumes everything.
There's so many moving parts, and you have to be the axis around which it all turns to make a cohesive project.
Especially on the indie level. But so the idea of just being an actor, actually at the time when I was thinking about it, I was like, maybe I'll just go in and tell him like I know how to run cameras, I know how to edit, I can help him run his movie, right? Just be a helpful guy. At least go see what it's all about and just go check out things, right? Because I'm not an actor. I'm not a good actor at all. I'm comfortable in front of the camera, but I'm not a good actor. So I go to the comic book store, and I see this guy with sunglasses, and he looks like he's into horror movies. So I'm like, hey man, I'm Andrew. I made a movie a few years ago, and I do voice acting and stuff, so I know how this stuff like works, and I can at least, you know, provide some advice and kind of help you guys steer this project a little bit. And I know how to do special effects and stuff. And he's like, well, I'm not the director, I'm the special effects artist, so you're talking to the wrong guy. And he just walks past me. That's Brandon. And he's missing several of his teeth, and he's obviously been through life on a lot of drugs, possibly. Fucking asshole. Walks by, and I even went, wow, what a fucking asshole. And then I looked at the owner who I knew. I was like, where's the director? And he's like, he's upstairs, man. So I went upstairs to this room, this big. It was cool where they were on Main Street of our little town. I'll beep it, it's fine. Whatever, come find me. I'm loaded, man. I got guns.
I'm strapped.
I'm strapped, dude. I'll shoot you. Okay, so in this room, there's a big fat guy who looks like me, and I'm a fat guy too, so we're good. He's an older version of me. I think he's 10 years older than me, so he's pushing 50 now. He has gray hair, and he had his goatee. He has more of a goatee than I do. He has like the goatee, but he had long hair. I'm like, oh, cool, this guy's cool. And he has an Xbox set up on a TV, and he's playing Friday the 13th Part 4, which... Funny story about Friday the 13th Part 4 and David is I played that for David when we were little kids, and I scared the shit out of him.
It's true.
Probably one of David's first horror movies.
Bro, okay, so just for clarification, I was such a wuss as a kid that when I was watching the original Mortal Kombat movie, and they're in hell...
which is like my favorite scene at the same
Yeah, it's like the
point in time.
coolest scene. It has some fantastic, just awesome visual effects. They're in hell, and I covered my eyes because it was just like, what happens in hell?
Which is funny because I would say David's into more... Like, David likes John... Do you still like Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and stuff?
Oh, God, yeah.
So he grew out of
I'm
it.
not, like, huge into it, but I also watch Jonan every now and then on Twitch. He does, like, art streams.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I would be into that. I love Jonan Vasquez.
He does art streams. He also does some gaming streams where he's just, like, fucking around playing, like, Power Wash Simulator or something like that. But yeah, he
Sounds
just
like
does
Jonan.
regular streams. He's super chill.
I talked to him one time. He was super nice to me.
He seems like it. Like, he's crazy nice.
He's cool. He's from the same area that M. Strange is from. So when I
Oh, no way.
I went to San Jose and hung out with M. and his wife one night, and he was showing me all the stomping grounds. He's like, yeah, Joe, you know, he knew him. So
That's so cool.
he also knows David Cho, which is crazy. David Cho's like one of my favorite artists. But okay, where was I? Okay, so I go in the room.
Sorry, I took us off on that tangent. My apologies.
They're
so
playing-
Friday the Four-
Yeah, which is like one of my all-time favorite movies, Friday the 13th, Part 4, and I'm like, cool. But if you're making an independent horror movie that is emulating something, and Jeff, you can get mad at me for this is just a recommendation. Maybe you don't have the movie that you're emulating playing as an example. I guess I don't know. Maybe it's just an example. I feel like it's kind of if you're gonna rip off a movie, maybe don't like make it so blatant. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Well, it's not like was he playing it on screen and like recording it while he was playing it or what?
No, he's just playing Friday the 13th at a casting call for his movie because it was an example
Oh, right.
of
This
what.
was a casting call.
Yeah, he's trying to show like what he wants to make. He likes this dude, and later I'd find out this dude is obsessed with Friday the 13th, which is cool. I like Friday the 13th, but I don't want to make a Jason. Well, no, I want to make a fan fiction for Dave. Whatever.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, sorry. This dude and I are very similar people, though. Okay, so.
Okay.
And you just saw I was picking at myself, so imagine us on the same film set, both directors. Like, it's not gonna go well. So I tell him, hey man, I got a lot going on in my life, but it'd be really cool to, like, help with the movie and stuff. And he's like, right on, dude. And we're just kind of bullshitting, and we hit it off. I still like this guy, by the way. So if he sees this, I hope he knows I do like him to some extent. He's like a shitty older brother, who I don't like a lot, but I still like a little bit. And he's kind of like, we're talking, and it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna be in this movie. I don't know if I'm gonna be a part of this movie. And the friend who owns the property shows up and gives me a big hug, and then another girl shows up and knows me and gives me a big hug, and that kind of got me in, I think, with him, because he realized, like, oh, people are working on this movie, and it's like, yeah, man, like, I do, I have an idea of how this stuff works, and so he's like, well, let's get you in front of the camera. I was like, what? I don't want to act. And he's like, no, come on. And so they're interviewing me in front of the camera. I'm like, yeah, I'm Andrew, like, I'm comfortable. I know how to be in front of the camera. I've been in movies before. I've been in probably more stuff than I want to admit on my stream. But so I've been doing this. I've been doing this YouTube thing. Honestly, if you, like, kind of like a shitty version of Tom Green, a less successful Tom Green, right?
Yeah. I'd say you're somewhere between Tom Green and Frederick Fox.
Dude, I'll take it. I love Frederick Fox.
You're in good company, yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to be famous, so I don't really want to be an actor. If I make movies, I want my name, or my movies to be famous, and I want people to go, that fucking guy made that movie? Like, that's my dream. Like, I want to be that guy that, and I know I'm streaming and stuff, but, like, nobody's gonna watch it. I mean, this is gonna get a lot less views than if I make a successful movie, right?
Right.
So I'm in front of the camera and I'm kind of telling them this, like, I don't care about, like, being in a movie, like, I don't care about acting, but I do want to get my name on as many low-budget indie films. This is way more appealing to me than going to Hollywood and being in a big-budget picture. Like, this is fun to me, because I can help you guys do this. And he's like, well, give me a monologue. I was like, just told you I'm not an actor, man. Well, the guy I'm looking at to be the killer of the movie, he just gave me a really good monologue. He did, it was a Deep Blue Sea with Samuel Jackson getting eaten by the shark. Have you ever seen Deep Blue Sea?
Yeah, I've seen Deep
And he
Blue
does
Sea.
his big speech. He does his big speech, and the shark comes up, and he did that with the
stuff.
stuff.
And the shark just comes up and, like, sideswipes.
It's so good.
Yeah. Okay. What does that have to do with? You just said you don't want to be an actor.
He wanted me in it. He was eyeballing me. He wanted me to be in the movie. And when I went up there, I had told him, like, maybe I could be a monster, because that's not really. I don't have to do lines and stuff. I could easily. I'm big too, but. Yeah. When he told me about the monologue with the shark and stuff, and I looked at that guy who's he's a comedian, a local comedian. He's a super nice guy. He's a little fat bald guy, and I was like, dude, that guy should be your killer, because the movie's called Dollface. Like, he's bald. And the director's like, this is at the casting call. I'm already telling the director, like, no, man, he needs to be bald. It's called. You told me that the killer is like a stupid baby. I have long hair. He's like, yeah, but I kind of want long hair. I was like, no, he should be the killer. He's like, well, I already did some setup shots. I was like, fuck your setup shots. There's your fucking doll face. What are you talking about? And so we're already arguing the first, and then he's like, well, I need a monologue. I was like, no, you don't. I'm not giving you a monologue. And that's my casting call. I would love if he would send me the footage of this casting call, because I'm not exaggerating. I did not do a monologue. And then I kind of was like, stood there, and then they're like, all right, Andrew, we'll get back to you. And I left, like, thinking, like, well, maybe they'll call me and let me, like, do something on the movie. I get home. I think it was the night I got home. He messages me. He's like, I want you to play Cameron in the movie. And he sends me a screenplay. I'm like, I'm not an actor. You know that you're going to get what you see. He's like, that's perfect. You're good. You're funny. You could be Cameron. I was like, all right, man.
Okay.
Being an actor kind of looks fun to me, because I've directed stuff and it's a nightmare, and maybe just acting would be fun for me. Okay, I'll do it. And so I read the script, and it was a good script. It was a slasher movie. I liked it. And I don't want to get too far into the movie. I don't want to pick the movie apart, but I liked the screenplay to it. And so my character is cool. He's one of the only people in the movie who, well, if I had been in it, my character was Cameron. So my name would have been Cameron, and I would have was like the only person actually like got to fight the killer, which is perfect, 'cause I'm bigger, right?
Right. Also means you probably get a cool way to die.
Yeah, I think I was gonna get my throat cut out or something. I don't know. I never watched the movie after the story ends. It ends with me not watching the movie. So within a week or two, we go to a table read, and I brought my phone, and I was thinking it would be good promotion to possibly document like the acting side of things, right, and kind of give his movie promotion. And I knew he wasn't a big fan of me having the camera or my phone out, and he kept kind of mentioning it, and I just ignored him and did it anyways, which is pretty disrespectful in hindsight. But I also am a pain in the ass, so whatever. I had my phone.
Yeah.
I wasn't recording the screenplay. I wasn't recording major lines or anything. It would have been good promotion. I disagreed with him, so I kept doing it. And I was...
Well, I mean, you already got the job by showing up to a casting call, not doing casting, and then bitching at each other for a bit, and then he said, perfect, your camera. So... Like,
told him what he was getting. And so I'm recording, and there's this guy there who played Chad originally. I'm not going to say his name, but this guy was making me uncomfortable. Actually, you know what? I don't think we went to a table read first. Actually, what we did was we went and filmed some promotional material because he wanted to do a Kickstarter. So I went to the property where the crackhead Brandon was like setting up. He set up a really cool, like, I mean, crackheads are great at like menial labor. So he did set up a really good set. I
love my arts and crafts.
It was nothing intricate, right? It was like he was nailing wood all over this dude's house. He had like a side house, right, on his property, and he just fucking destroyed this house. He like had wood. He boarded up all the windows. He made it look like something that Jason would live in, right? And so the girl who owned the property, we're like nailing her hand down to a table, and the killer's coming in. She's screaming and stuff. It was fun. And so I met Chad, the original Chad. There was an original Chad, and this kid was awful. He was so annoying. He was, and you're gonna be mad at me for saying this kid annoyed the shit out of me because of what happened to this kid. He's no longer with us. I'll get into that in a second. But he annoyed the shit out of me, and I'm not gonna lie about it. He was annoying.
I'm also one of those people who I don't think you have to worry about me being like, Andrew, shouldn't you feel bad about how you reacted before this horrible thing happened?
Yeah, well, I feel bad. I feel bad about what happened to him, and I think there might have been something. I don't know. There's something going on with this guy.
Then nothing else really needs to be said as far as that goes.
Yes.
Like if you feel bad about what happened to him.
Yeah, it's fucked up. Okay, so yeah, that was our first day. We went and shot some stuff, and it was really fun because I love this stuff. Right, this is like my whole world. David's known me a long time. Horror movies are my thing. Like that's what I do. That's my
one of my favorite memories is seeing the Tarman in Return of the Living Dead. Like Andrew got me to relax so much as far as being uptight about a lot of media goes. I remember bitching about Devil May Cry and not liking how Dante looked in the new Devil May Cry, and you were like, all right, but is the game fun?
Yeah. Well, the company that made it's great. Like Ninja Theory?
Yeah, Ninja Theory. I stopped and I realized, like, I'm into Edge Boy goth shit.
Yeah.
Like, this is technically, like, if this wasn't Devil May Cry, if I wasn't throwing a hissy fit about this dude's hair color, everything on this would be right up my street. So Andrew's actually the person who got me to stop being such an uptight ass about some things.
Thank you. Tried to do that the other day for some of my other friends, and they blocked me. So we had this first day of shooting. It was so fun, and I made my little vlog thing, and then I think that's when Jeff realized, like, oh, this guy's gonna fucking be recording a lot, you know, like, and they liked it and stuff. So I was humored, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna keep doing this. And then so I think the second episode, I have it pulled up actually. Actually, the second episode was that footage that we filmed, and then there was a fun little, like, reaction, like, teaser. Charlie was a year old at this time, so Charlie and I watched the teaser. So the third episode of the vlog, we were doing our first table read, and I forgot the guy's name.
Well, I mean, you probably didn't want to say his name anyway, so...
No, I don't. He was a super old guy, and he was super cool. And the way I was introduced to him was, and I'm not going to say who said this, I should, but somebody leaned towards me and they're like, that guy's gay and he has AIDS. And I went, cool, man, like, whatever. He's the nicest guy ever. It's like, And the person that whispered this
What
to me,
else do you know about his personality and history?
and I don't even know if that's true. That's how I was introduced to
Yeah.
this guy, and I told him and he's like, I don't think he should be in the movie. I was like, what, are you gonna rub bloody hands? Like, what do you mean he shouldn't be in the movie? Like, what the fuck? So I instantly made friends with this guy because he's cool. I'm pretty sure he's gay, but I don't know if that matters to me.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I know he's gay because I said, "Are you gay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gay." I was like, "Ugh," and he went, "Well, that's how I feel when I think about you sleeping with a woman." I was like, "How do you feel about me sleeping with a man?" And we were friends after that. So so I got to know everybody. There's this girl, so fine. Jeff wanted a girl to get naked in the movie. This girl was like, I don't know. She kind of reminded me of like Topanga, like grown. You know how hot Topanga is? Yeah, she was hot, and all the dudes were like, "Dude, this girl's so hot." And I was a single guy. I wasn't with my wife at this time, and so I was like a single guy. And they're like, "You should date that girl." I was like, "She's too hot for me, man. I wouldn't know what to do with that girl." We instantly became friends, and so I think some of the guys were mad that her and I were so friendly. Probably because I wasn't fucking drooling all over her, but she was a very pretty girl. So I got to know everybody. I was having fun. I was relaxing. I was in a very stressful time in my life, so I was making jokes. And we're doing our table read and whatever. After the table read, Jeff and I kind of argued about my character being a pussy at one point. And the argument carried over. We had a big group chat on Facebook with all the actors on there and Jeff. And he was kind of like, "No, you are a pussy. I wrote the script, and you're going to be what I tell you to be." And I went, "Nah, I'm not a pussy. You can't tell me what to do. You shouldn't have put me in that part if you wanted a pussy, because I ain't a pussy." And he was like, he got mad at me. He's like, "Listen, you made a whole mockery of my table read." I was like, "Yeah, I was the only one making jokes, bro, but okay." And he was like, "Dude, I don't know if this is going to work out." I went, "All right. I didn't want to be an actor in your movie anyways. Like, what do you mean? If it's not going to work, it's not going to work. But I'm going to make jokes. I'm going to probably record stuff, and I'm going to probably annoy you a little bit. Like, that's just how it's going to go. You're not paying me. You don't get to tell me what to do, and I'm not a pussy. You hired the wrong guy." And so we kind of left it like he was mad at me. And that was our first fight. That was fight number 1. There's 3 fights in this story. So he's pissed at me. And the next day he messages...
Act 1.
And anytime Jeff and I would get into it, such as this, he tried to guilt me into submitting to him. He told me, "I'm dedicating this movie to my dad, who had just passed away." I was like, "I feel really bad about your dad passing away. I'm not a pussy. I don't give a fuck who you dedicate the movie to. That's great. You should dedicate the movie to your father who just passed away. It has nothing to do with me. So it's not going to change my behavior, because this is going to take a year of my life to do for you for free. Like, no." And so,
Don't understand how important this slasher movie is to my dead father.
well, it's really important to him, right? So I didn't want to
Right.
but that's not going to work on me.
I know, it's just such a strange tactic to go.
All of his tactics did not work on me because I'm another film director. I know how bullshit people, bro. Like, you're not. It's not going to work. You have. I don't like to compare myself to a wolf, but you have 2 wolf-like people who get their movies done. Maybe not wolves, but like 2 bosses, 2 shepherds in the...
2 badgers.
Yeah, 2 badgers. There you go. I'm definitely a badger. All right.
Exactly.
So the next day, and anytime we get into a fight, he'd always go, "Andrew, I really do like you. Like, Jeff, you never said you didn't like me. What do you mean you like? Okay, I like you too, man. Thank you." He's like, "I'm gonna give you a second opportunity. You should be Cameron." I was like, "Okay, I'll be Cameron again, Jeff."
All right.
So we proceeded to go to like 20 fucking table reads from like October all the way until like February or March. We were just doing table reads at this comic book store over and over and over again. And finally, it worked because I was able to kind of get in his ear about stuff. Like, he had it in his head that he was going to be like, this was going to blow up on DVD. And I was like, "Dude, we're old men, and I know we like DVDs. Nobody fucking cares about DVDs. This needs to go up online on YouTube for free, and it might get views if you're lucky."
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you mean?" I was like, "I've made a movie before, man. I probably got 3,000 views on my movie altogether, and that took a long time. Like, you're gonna make this movie, and if you're smart and you want to do this for a living, you're not gonna make any money. You jump to the next movie, and then you jump to the next movie, and if you get lucky, you might. You can sit here and fight about how to promote a movie all day. Plenty of rich people do this all the time. They sit in boardrooms, and they're 90% of the time incorrect about what they're predicting and what they're trying to do, because there's an element of luck, whether you want to admit it or not. There's an element of luck that comes into making a successful B movie.
Yes.
If you're putting millions of...
A successful movie at all. I mean, look at...
You could say that, yeah.
I don't want to, like throw anybody under the bus in particular, but look at how Disney's been doing lately. Like...
Yeah, millions of dollars thrown away.
Some movies have come out, and I completely forgot that they've come out months into their advertisement cycle.
Yeah. So, you know, I told them, I was like, I do know what I'm talking about in this one. I do have film director friends, and, like, we've been racking our brains on how to get a movie seen for decades, you know? Either you can get lucky or not, you know? Film festival circuits sometimes work, sometimes they don't. Because he wanted to do film festivals, and I was like, even that's kind of like a done thing. Like, we grew up thinking film festival, film school, film festival, Hollywood, and I learned my way out of that train of thought, because I realized I don't want to go sit with old men in bathhouses to make my way in LA, you know what I mean? I didn't want to get diddled. So, we're at these
Sorry, no names.
20, no, those aren't people that matter. I'm talking about, like, people in my town I don't want to, like, badmouth. So we did 20 fucking table reads. By the second table read, the annoying Chad, the first Chad, he wasn't showing up. I think he missed 2 table reads. So Jeff was like, we were talking about him, and I was like, this kid drives me nuts, man. And I'm, you know, I know it's an independent movie, and I don't advise, like, firing people. But if you're going to fire anybody, that probably the kid not showing up to the table reads probably needs to go. And everybody kind of, we were all like, yeah, let's fire this kid. And so the kid got fired. And we got the better Chad. And he's even wearing a shirt on this picture that says Chad Rules. I love that guy. That guy's so cool. And he was dating the girl, one of the girls that was in the movie who I was friendly with, and her and I had been talking a lot, and I met him, and I was like, what about her boyfriend, you know, like, this guy fucking rules, like, I would love if this guy was Chad, and he was kind of like, I'm not an actor, and I was like, neither am I, dude, like, jump on board, and so, I helped get this guy to be Chad, and Jeff, I mean, agreed with me, it was his choice, ultimately, and he picked him, and I was excited about that. Old Chad, 3 days later, was on the side of the highway walking towards Fernley and jumped in front of a moving vehicle and died. And
holy shit.
Yeah, out of like a couple days later, and we had just sat in a meeting and talked shit about this kid, and it was like, oh, I feel pretty bad about myself, and so did, you know, Jeff. Jeff's like, well, we should do like a in memory of. And I was like, no, you fired this kid. What do you mean? No, you're dedicating this to your dad. Don't put that kid next to your dad. Like, we hated this kid. And he's like, yeah, but I was like, he wasn't working on the movie anymore. You fired him. He wasn't showing up. Like, don't exploit this kid's death. Like, don't.
No.
I think
and then if it comes out later on as well that, like, in memory of, and then everybody else finds out, oh, you fired this guy, that's only going to look like 11 times worse.
Dude, it sucked. So there's like bummer number 1 on this movie, like pretty real stuff. Like, this kid's dead now, you know, and I was just fucking bad mouthing. It sucked. But we got a better Chad. So, and I don't, fuck. So we moved on from that.
It's just. But we got a better Chad, so.
Yeah, I know, it sucks. From what we knew, it wasn't because it had nothing to do with stupid doll face. I'm sure on some level Jeff was like, maybe I shouldn't have fired this guy, but I did my best to reassure him, like, no, there was something going on with this guy that had nothing to do with us, and that's probably why it wasn't showing up to table reads, because he had other shit going on. It had nothing to do. And if he did jump in front of a moving vehicle because of your stupid fucking doll baby killer movie, whatever, you know, but I wouldn't.
I sincerely doubt that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
I think that's a little narcissistic to think that his movie had anything to do with this poor kid. So we went on to these table reads, blah blah blah. Jeff had this idea, and he didn't want to make Dollface a found footage movie at all, but he wanted to do like kind of like, he's like, you remember Blair Witch Project? I was like, yeah, Jeff, everybody knows Blair Witch Project. He's like, whoa, we could do found footage we could do the it's called Terror on Route 9, so you'd call it the Route 9 challenge. He's like, we could do the Route 9 challenge, bro, and we could put we put videos of found footage situations happening. I was like, yeah, that's cool, let's do it. And he's like, but the owners of the property had a bar that we were starting to decorate. We hung porn all over this old abandoned bar, like a ton of porn.
Like we're talking like an actual like proper saloon, like a big
Yeah, it was a bar. We had to move all the
Was this-
alcohol.
It was in business.
No. It was a closed down bar, but all the alcohol was still in there. They had closed down their business, but we were able to go
Oh.
use this bar. It was cool.
That is, yeah.
This girl and this guy who were together, they had like all these locations for us. Like they did all the locations for Jeff, and they were super cool about it. They also got Brandon the crackhead a car by this point. They gave him a car,
Aw,
and it was super sweet, right?
yeah.
So we went into this bar, and you can see this in I have the vlog still on my YouTube if you ever want to see any of this. But one of the dudes from K&B Effects, Greg Nicotaro's company, back when there's 3 of them a part of it. I forgot his name. I think it was a B in K&B. He even painted a doll face picture for Jeff. Like they all know this guy. He worked on like Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Hell and stuff. Like people I idolize. So we had a painting from this guy for our movie that Jeff was selling on Kickstarter and shit. So we went in to do these found footage little movies, and Jeff like threw a rock at a shelf and broke a bunch of glass. It was fun. And I had my camera off to the side and I was recording, and he got mad about it. And he got on the group message later that day, and he was like, I'm tired of there being phones on the set. I'm trying to do secretive stuff, and I don't feel like this should be out there on the internet. And if I'm going to convince people that this is actual found footage, I don't think Andrew should be doing a vlog, blah, blah, blah. He's like, no more phones. And so I got on the message and I said, this isn't Nazi Germany. I'm going to have my phone where the fuck I want. You can kiss my black ass, Jeff. And so Jeff messages me. He's like, you're fucking fired. I was like, I don't care. So I got fired the second time. And he's like, so he messaged me later and he's like, is there any way to talk to your friend? And I was like, yeah, if you're going to be friends with me, I talk to people all the time. He's like, what would you do if I came up to you and told you to kiss my black ass? You're not even black. And I was like, I would laugh. He's like, well, I would fight somebody if they said that. I was like, I said it to you, so what are we going to fight now? What do you mean you fight me? Like, how
What are we
can
doing
you?
now?
I was like, you've talked to me a lot, and I've talked a lot of shit. Like, what do you mean you're going to fight me? And he's like, that's just so disrespectful. And I was like, so is telling me what to do, like, with my phone. Like, I'm helping promote your movie. I'm not, if you watch those vlogs, there's nothing from the movie. I'm not giving anything away. Also, Jeff, you have no fucking movies. This is your first movie. Nobody knows who the fuck you are. That's the beauty of this whole situation. And you have a
Yeah,
whole...
like he's talking about trying to keep everything secret. Nobody's trying to find out what he's doing.
I get, like, if you're making a movie, you probably don't want to advertise it too much. I don't even know why he's filming footage for that wasn't even in the movie to promote it. But he had this
Yeah.
idea that he wanted $25,000 on Kickstarter. And I was like, Jeff, you don't have a name, like, in this shit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, like, I was so against... I don't do Kickstarter. I don't want anybody telling me what to do with my project. And sure, I'm struggling, and I probably won't be able to make a lot of movies in my life, but if I can make a couple more on my own dime, that's preferable over begging for money on the internet.
Fair.
I would save Kickstarter for medical emergencies, family members. You had one for your dog. You weren't asking for
Yeah.
$25,000 fucking dollars for a bunch of people to go play at some fucking house. Our locations were supplied to us. We didn't need permits. We had the camera already. We had blood and gore. He did not need $25,000. It was a crock of shit. It was a scam. And the thing I feel really bad about is to...
On
I'm
the
sure...
one hand, I'm thinking like maybe he wanted the $25,000 just to say that people are so excited about our movie. We got $25,000 on our very first.
I think it was a promotional stunt, and I think he would have... I think that money would have gone into the movie, so I shouldn't say it's a scam. This motherfucker didn't need $25,000 to make the movie, is my point. He didn't get $25,000. And I know because I don't want to say how many people. Some of my people contributed to this movie, right? This plays into stuff later. So the second time I got fired, I was like, fuck, I gotta talk to... I have, like, these director friends who are putting money into this now. I'm like, okay.
Ugh.
Now I care a little bit more, but I'm like, alright, whatever, you know. And by this point, I had Charlie back full-time. Everything was kind of over. Like, I was feeling better about life. I was starting to talk to Michelle. Things were pretty good.
Poor girl.
But he messaged me, and we were kind of bickering back and forth. And he's like, Andrew, I'm gonna give you a second opportunity just because I like you. I was like, yeah, I know you like me, Jeff. You told me that. You do like me. And he's like, I'm gonna give you a second opportunity. Can you just
I like the
ease?
smell of you. Mm.
Can you ease up a little bit? I was like, yeah. And after our little spat, and after I was rehired a second time, we were cool and we were kind of bonding a little bit more. To the point where he wanted to make a movie and he wanted me to play him in the movie because I'm younger than him. This guy is similar to me, right? Like,
Okay.
I'm like his little brother. But anyways, I look like his little brother. I'm not close to him like that, but
Fair. Now I'm trying to figure out who would play you.
I was can just be him.
I know. You'd be him, and then I would play you, and we would bitch at each other, and then you just fire me.
Dude,
every time.
Jeff, if you see this, we should just make a movie about you making your stupid fucking Dollface movie. Good idea, David. I'll play you, Jeff. And we'll get your crackhead friend to play me. I have all my teeth though, so
I could make some changes.
yeah. Well, we'll put some dentures in them. So we were we were talking about future projects and stuff, you know, like, and I was like, you know, I want to start my own company and stuff, but yeah, anytime you ever need any help, he was showing me stuff, like, and just so he knows, I would never put his personal like projects out there. I never wanted to mess up the integrity of his movie, even though he was so like clutching to it. Right around when he released footage he released that teaser that Charlie and I did a cute little video for, and it almost got 100 views. If you look at that video, there's a weird comment on here. It said, "Don't support this film. The directors Jeff and there's their last names. Sorry, dudes. If anybody looks up this movie, their names are all over it. But Jeff and Brandon are known scammers in the horror community." And I was like, "Well, that's kind of weird." And then he said, "They threatened to murder my family after I outed them on Facebook for scamming me and many others." I went, "Oh, that's really weird." So,
It's a little bit odd.
Jeff, as far as I could tell, did not have a job at this time. I think he was kind of helping at the comic book store a little bit, but he was really into doing this movie.
Right.
His fiance works, and I think she was kind of, you know, being the bread earner, and that's not my business. I'm not judging him on that. And they had 2 little kids together, so he was a dad like me. So we were bonding on that stuff too. I would like to think that Jeff wasn't scummy enough to threaten somebody's family. That Brandon guy, though, definitely probably would threaten somebody's family because he was a creep. He's a bad guy.
Gotcha.
As far as I could tell. And I'm going to tell you some more stuff to kind of, like I told you, I'll let you decide if you think he's a fucking piece of shit.
All right, fair enough.
Here's number 1. Crackhead guy was living in a bedroom in Jeff's house with the kids. Which, you know, sometimes we have hard times, and, you know, like Jesse's let me stay at his house before when I was having a rough time when we were younger and whatever. And then the drummer, Jeff, was in a metal band. A really cool metal band. Like, I have footage of Jeff playing guitar, and he has like spikes and shit all over him. He looks fucking badass. And he's in a really cool band. Their music was good. Their drummer, I don't want to say his name, sweet guy, virgin, kind of a loner, like weird guy, sleeping in the room with the crackhead. Like, they're sharing a room together, and they were playing wrestling games. And I was like, we could make a sitcom about these 2 guys. They're like making characters on a wrestling game. They even did like a video where they like made their own wrestling promotion with the wrestling game, and it was so fucking funny. This drummer kid I love this guy, and he hasn't talked to me since since everything happened because he was mad. I think he felt like I kind of walked out on that, which I did. So, but I was getting close to this kid. I liked him, and I felt like Jeff and Brandon were kind of mean to him for being a virgin and shit. Like, I know he's a virgin because Jeff and Brandon would make fun of him for being a virgin loser all the time.
Yes.
Out of the 3 of them, this virgin loser was the only one with a fucking job. Like, so yeah, he's not doing great in the world. He's living in a room with a crackhead, but he was the one I liked out of all 3 of them. He was the nicest. He was funny. He was pretty good at talking to girls. Remember Topanga girl? We were trying to get him to talk to her, and he's like, "What? No? Like, what do you mean?" She even at one point said, "I'll take your virginity," like joking with him. She's like, "I take your virginity in a heartbeat." Like, she's trying to give him confidence is what you need, you know.
Yeah.
So I was trying to like be nice to this guy, and not because I was pitying him. I think it's cool that he's a virgin. Like, whatever, dude.
God bless him.
Yeah, well, whatever. Like, there's more to that. So there's Brandon was a dick to this guy,
Is
and
the spoiler that you took his virginity, Andrew?
no, there's a fucked up story about his virginity though. I will tell in a minute. It's towards the end of the story.
No.
So
Is he okay? I just want him to be all right.
no, it's just made me hate Brandon more. But
Oh, okay.
so Jeff's not a bad guy though. He's helping his friends out. His friends are living with him. Like I'm noticing all these things, and I'm becoming more patient with. He's very serious about this stupid fucking movie though, and it's fine. Like he can be serious. We're gonna have fun. Our final meeting, he gave a little speech, and I never uploaded it because by the time I was ready to upload I would call him Cam's vlog. By the time I was ready to do his cool speech, I was done by this point.
Well, what does this have to do with the scammer comment on YouTube?
Oh, did I fucking get distracted?
Yeah.
Oh, I was trying to explain that I'm not sure that this scammer, the person accusing them of being scammers, I had heard some other things. So now I'm really making fun of Jeff now. Jeff was game streaming. He would tell us that he was a game streamer, along with wanting to be a film director, and he was in a metal band. And his name was Ajax Death on his stream, and which is so many Deadpool jokes for Ajax, but and I was Deadpool in this situation because I'd make fun of him. But he would play Friday the 13th like religiously. Like that game was cool, but that was all he streamed was Friday the 13th. Like,
I see.
I don't mean this as an insult, Jeff. I don't think you're autistic, but so Ajax Death, he's got this persona. It's cool. It's the dumbest fucking name ever, but it's almost like if I could talk to Jeff, maybe now I'm inspired to make a movie about this situation because it's pretty. Are you interested?
Yeah, well, I'm here listening. All right.
It's pretty good. So,
What,
I appreciate it. I'm about to make it more interesting. Can you see? Do you have the stream pulled up at all?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't watch streams.
I'll tell you-
Give me a second. I can pull it up.
I'll tell you what I'm. So the person who left this scary comment was, "Don't support this film." His name's Boglinzilla. And can you see my screen?
Yeah, I'm looking at your screen right now.
Would you cut that out? Alright, boys, put on your game faces. It's time to trick some candy out of some poor saps.
Do I need to go on? Do you want me to go on? Here, I'll go on.
Alright, Drool, ring the bell.
He's calling the Boglins by their actual fucking names. Okay, so I'm not trying to be a dick, but this guy is accusing these dudes of some pretty heinous things, but this is my example of this guy, and it's like, dude, I love Boglins, I love Godzilla, I love Friday the 13th. He had some run-in with these guys, and they pissed him off somehow, and I think he might have been embellishing the situation a bit.
Yeah, that's kind of the impression I'm getting.
I don't want to dismiss him, but that was the only time I heard some other things, like they had ripped somebody off on him, and Brandon would make really cool like Jason masks and stuff. But I know somebody who got one of their masks and he was fucking stoked on it. So like it wasn't. I don't. They're like low budget. Like these guys aren't professional anythings, right? So
Yeah.
You know, people fucking. I wasn't getting the feeling like my life was in danger yet. No, I'm just joking. Nobody.
Sometimes foreshadowing.
To be fair, Jeff and I are still we still talk to each other sometimes, so he might get mad at me for this. He might get mad at me for this story.
Based on what you've said, it doesn't sound like. It sounds like they just had a disagreement, and
yeah, I don't think anybody's life was threatened. I could be wrong. Jeff had so many stories for me. Like, this dude's lived all over the place. He was in metal bands. Like, he had some sketchy stories. I didn't get I get kind of a scummy feel from him sometimes, but I never got, like, he was gonna hurt my family or anything like that. He did something really shitty to me, and we will get to that. Okay. So we made up. We're wrapping up our table reads, all that stuff, and now we're ready to film our movie. Finally, we go to our first day of filming, and the girl who owns the property has a walkie-talkie, and Brandon's been setting up everything, and he's bitching about having to work. He's done all the set design. He's putting sharp metal on the fucking walls and like making it look rugged, and he yells at the girl who owns the property. She's pretty much our producer, like, right? And he yells at her, and she starts crying, like, emotionally. This is when I started, and she was probably the reason that they're filming there, not her boyfriend. And she was probably the reason that this crackhead was given a car. And I started to kind of get the vibe that there was something going on between those two. Which, if you knew the girl I was talking about, she was smoking hot. But sometimes when you're in a situation you don't want to be in anymore, you make stupid decisions. I don't know what happened with that situation. I don't want to go any further than that. My perception of it, though, the way she was crying, they were close. I'm not saying that they did anything, but there was kind of an assumption that something more was going on there than just them being friends. So, the way he snapped at her and she started crying was weird. And that was our first day on set, and it kind of made me dislike him a little bit, because it was just like, be nice to her. Like, she'd been through a lot, and I'm not going to put her personal shit out there, but you could tell there's things going on between her and her boyfriend. And I noticed on the second time we went to film, we were out late at night, her boyfriend was there, and he was following her around and making comments. Like, something was fucking going on with that situation.
Her boyfriend was following her around
and
the
making...
set?
Yeah. He was there, because it's his property, too, and he was like, making comments, like, gotta keep an eye on this one, and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, shit, something's going on. That's where I'm going to leave that part of the story, but it did make me dislike, crackhead a little bit more, like, probably breaking up a family there with your shit.
Damn.
So, we're towards the end of the story now. This is where I got fired the third time. I'm Cameron. We're filming. The first thing we film, Jeff tells me to get behind this metal awning, and he's like filming my face. He's like, look scared. And I was like, you know, what do you mean look scared? Yeah. Like, if I was in that situation, I would be doing this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have, I'm expressive, but like, I'm like 250 pounds, man. I'm fucking scared of a baby killer. So I gave them some faces and shit, and they're, you know, whatever, and they're like, all right, let's film you and the killer fighting. And he wanted the killer to pick me up, slam me into the ceiling, and flip me onto the floor. And I went, Jeff, I'm a war veteran, I am over the age of 30, and I have no knees. And he is not picking me up. He's like, well, let's see if he can lift you. And then the crackhead walks by me. He's like, forgot the pads, and kind of gives me like a smirk, like, fuck you, dude, you're not getting pads. And I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to slam from the ceiling to the floor without any kind of padding. I'm gonna get hurt. You're gonna hurt me. And if I get hurt on your film set, that's bad. And maybe not so much with me, because I don't have any money for a lawyer right now, because I'm already done with court. But you know, you don't. When you're on a film set, rule number one, safety. Like, if anybody gets hurt, and people will try to get hurt on purpose to sue you. Like, don't fuck with people on a film set. Like, people, like, will sneak their foot under, like, a horse's hoof and stuff. And if you make any money, they're coming for you. Like, they'll let their feet get ran over. They'll try and get hit by a car, whatever. Like, they try to get hurt on film sets. It's common knowledge. So...
That sucks.
And this guy is, like, half my size. He's not going to be able to lift me into the ceiling and drop me on the floor. I was like, I'm gonna go get some padding out of my car. Like, you guys are idiots. So there's a bunch of
pull out a full like action wire set.
I had like some sleeping bags and some jackets I put on the floor, so if I hit the floor, and they're like, this is when they started going, think professional wrestling. I was like, think professionally wrestling? What are we, 5? What do you mean think professionally wrestling? I'm not a professional wrestler. I can't think like a professional wrestler. And those guys get crippled by the time they're my age. What do you mean think professional wrestler? You guys are just... Jeff's like, oh, I was a professional wrestler. I was like, I'm sure you were very successful with your wrestling days. I'm sure they're really paying off for you while you're making this movie. And so the killer comes in, and I do like this guy, but this guy's a fucking idiot. There's a bunch of sharp metal on the door behind me, and they're like, he's gonna slam you into the door. And I looked at it, I was like, I don't want him throwing me into the sharp metal. Like, and at this point, I'm looking difficult, and I'm like, you guys are putting me in a position where I look like a fucking pansy. I don't want him to throw me into a door with sharp metal. I don't want him to throw me into the ceiling and drop me on the floor. Like, fuck you guys. And so Jeff's like, all right, he's gonna run in. And he's given the directions. He's like, he's gonna run in, and then we'll have Andrew arranged in a way. We'll come from the other side and let Andrew throw himself against the door, so he doesn't hit any of the sharp metal. What does this fucking buffoon do? The second he comes in, the very first shot, grabs me and fucking throws me into the door as hard as he can. And I hit a bunch of sharp metal like I didn't want to. I caught myself, and I'm like, bro, I get that you're excited, and I get that you want to be a killer and stuff, but you can't fucking throw people into shards of metal. Like, if I had gotten, like, it was this close to fucking nicking the back of my neck, I'm still looking like a fucking complainer and a baby. And it's like, and Brandon's
that's just safety.
Oh,
Like,
so
you're
mad.
making a movie. Nobody wants to go into a movie and actually. What are you trying to make a fucking snuff film? Are we filming something in the 60s?
And these guys kind of, Brandon would give me the vibe of somebody who, he would not care if I had gotten stabbed. He would have taped it, you know? But, so I'm like, guys, this is bad. So, we get through it. I'm pissed off at this point. I'm frustrated. This is like the first time I'm acting in a kind of, you know, bigger movie that's not my own. I've been directing myself for so long. But, even their makeup artist was one of my people from my movie. Like, I got them their makeup artist. And I begged her to come be in this movie because I love her, you know. And she's watching me. I'm looking like a fucking idiot in front of my one of my people, you know, that I want to... And we've talked since then, and she didn't think I looked like an idiot. Whatever. I felt stupid. And to make me feel stupid when you're asking me to act in your movie for free is not how it's done.
I can understand why you would feel stupid, though, because you were brought in to act, and you're here to act a part.
Yeah.
And what he's got you there, and he's just thinking that all of the acting, editing, special effects, the visual sleight of hand, like all of that is just going to happen suddenly right there, because he's like, I have this idea that should have been mapped out long before the shoot happened.
Yeah. See him,
You know,
Dex?
you're typing on screen, right?
Yeah,
On
I'm
screen.
sorry. Oh, you could see it?
Yeah.
Did Dak say anything embarrassing on there?
I don't know.
Let's see. Oh, Dak went to a Black Flag show. Dak was going to be on the show, and I said, probably could have picked a less shitty, washed-up-ass old man band to ditch me for, but it's all good. Black Flag in 2025, there's something. He's not happy about going.
He's not? Why?
Because it's Black Flag. It's none of the same
Well,
members.
then why did he go?
Because somebody bought him a ticket and he felt guilty. It's Dak. He's just a sweet guy, you know. Dak does things he doesn't want to do all the time.
Dak.
Him being on the stream was probably something you didn't want to do. The reason I wanted Dak on here because he acted in my movie, and we fought a little bit, right? At no point would I have hurt my friend. At no point did we go home mad. We went home and cuddled up and watched Burial Ground together, like the friends that we are. We were good at the end of the day, and I never would allow my friend to be hurt. I would antagonize him a little bit. So while I'm getting frustrated on the set of Dollface, I kind of remembered back to how I had sometimes pressured Dak, and I would kind of be mean to him. And I think I was kind of getting that vibe from maybe Jeff. I don't think he wanted me to get hurt. I never got that vibe that Jeff wanted me to be hurt. His crackhead flunky was like, you know, he was the one making the comments like, we didn't bring pads or anything for you, and he was kind of like calling me a pussy and stuff, and he was laughing at me a lot on the set.
Yeah,
So,
he just wants to see blood.
but this guy's been in Jeff's ear the whole time. Like, he lives in his house. They're probably editing footage together. This guy's he's a piece of shit. I'm sticking with it. So we're like, we're at the final part of me being in this movie. They want me to fall down and hit my head on a table. I'm like, cool, get the camera going. And they're like, no, you gotta practice it. I was like, guys, I don't have knees. It's the second I blow out my knee, I'm not gonna be able to do this anymore. It's gonna hurt really bad. I prefer not to blow out my knee. You guys should record this. I remember specifically asking them to start recording. He said, no, you gotta try it a couple times. If you do it right, you won't get hurt. I was like, and he said it again. Jeff said, think professional wrestler. I'm like, guys, I'm not a fucking professional wrestler. And you don't tell this fucking man baby, who is a man baby that you hired to be a man baby, to fucking think professional wrestler because he's gonna fucking hurt somebody. Anyways, so I'm trying to fall into this table. I did it 7 times, I think, maybe 6.
Oh my god.
Over and over, and they're like, you could do it better, you could do it better. And they're fucking with me at this point. They're not recording it. They finally turn on the camera, and the last one, my knee fucking blew up like a balloon. Like, I smashed my knee into the floor. I got up, and I said, look at my fucking knee. I told you, I'm gone. Fuck you all, and I left. I was pissed. Earlier in the day, the wind was blowing too hard, and we were going to film some outside shots. And so we were there for probably about 6 hours before we recorded anything. And we finally decided to film my scenes inside, because I was still there. Mm-hmm. While we were dicking off and hanging out, the drummer, who also lived with the crack kid in the room, the crack kid started bragging about having sex with a woman in front of this virgin, and he was so proud of himself. And he told, the way the story was told, they were in a metal band together, and they were giving him shit for being a virgin. They had a groupie there, basically, and they told her this kid was a virgin. And he was like 19 at the time. And so she got naked, and they were trying to get him to have sex with her, and he was like, "I don't know her. I'm not romantically involved."
Yeah, what the fuck?
And so, crackhead goes and just has sex with her right in front of him, and it's just like they're bragging and telling me this story. I'm like, this is fucked up. Like I know, crackhead was bragging about it, he's smiling at me, and I shook my head and I just left the room because I was disgusted and repulsed with what they had just told me, and that was kind of like one of my final like face-to-face situations with this guy. Like, he disgusted me. That's why I think he's a piece of shit. Mostly that story, to be honest with you. But also the other stuff that I kind of was catching a sense of. I was just like, I really don't like this individual. Like, I don't want to associate with this person. And it really rubbed me the wrong way. So, and it sucks because that kid never talked to me again. Because after this point, I'm done with the movie. This is my... So I said, fuck you all. I left. I was pissed. Fucking blew out my knee. I go home. And in the group chat, they were still talking about it, and they're like, wow, what a great day filming and everything. And so I sent them a picture of my knee. I was like, sorry I got mad, you guys, but like, look at my fucking knee. Like, my knee is like, it was like big. Like, it really hurt. And so I just sent a picture just to show them, like, maybe, like, hey guys, maybe don't do... Like, I wasn't really lecturing them or anything. I just sent a picture because we would talk about the film set. So this fucking crackhead Brandon's like, I'm having a hard time breathing in my lungs and because I done too many drugs and I'm trying to hang stuff up all day and you're bitching about your knee, blah, blah, blah. So I sent him a personal message, and I knew Jeff was with him, but I was like, dude, I'm a single dad. I manage a gas station, and I'm going to school full time. I don't need your fucking shit. I'm above you. Like, I don't care what you think. And I don't need you making me feel stupid at any point ever because you aren't in a position to make anyone feel stupid, personally. And from what I've seen and from what you've told me, I'm not impressed, and you're not making me look stupid anymore, And I don't need this shit. Like, fuck you. And so I kind of left it at that. And the very next day, Jeff calls me. He's like, listen, man, we got to talk. I'm going to have to fire you from the part. And I was like, okay. And he was like, we were just watching the footage that we recorded, and that scene where you're behind the metal, you just weren't acting, and the lighting was bad. And I was like, I didn't do the lighting, but okay. He's like, it was just too dark. I was like, yeah, okay. So you're firing me because the lighting was off, which the crackhead was doing. But okay, yeah, I got you, man. He's like, well, listen, I've always liked you, Andrew. You're a good guy, and if you want to come and do lights and stuff, and I was like, yeah, sure, man. And so I was even considering still being part of the crew because that's what I initially wanted, and he knew that, and I thought about it. But then I kept thinking about that story that was told to me and the other shit that was going on, and it just didn't feel right. So I ended up quitting the movie. I got on the group chat. I was like, listen, guys, I got fired for the 3rd time. I'm out. And then I made a thing on Facebook because I was, promoting this movie for months at this point, and I had gotten some people to fund that Kickstarter that I was against in the first place. So I had to message all these people, and I made a comment like, I'm not gonna be in the movie anymore, and I left the chat. So I'm sure they were talking shit about me, and then I was done at that point. I bowed out.
Right.
And So I thought that was kind of like the end. Oh, that same day, that was the last thing, the last straw too, and something that had run me the wrong way. I just started dating Michelle, and we had our first date, and I pretty much fell in love with my wife. Like, we've been together since our first date. Like, there was no
Nice.
questions. We've just been together, and
Congrats.
my wife's a little bit older than me, and they were like, and her ex was in prison at the time, and so I was kind of telling them, like, it's a little scary, like, and they're like, that guy's gonna kill you. Like, what do you mean? And I was like, no, he's not. What do you mean he's gonna? She's not with him anymore. Like, no, he doesn't care about me. If anything, he'll appreciate that I'm helping out with his kid while he's locked up. And they're like, I think you should dump her. And just like this heartless, like, I don't know, man. I was really excited, and these were kind of like my friends for a little bit. Like, these were people I was talking to
Yeah.
regularly, and I was trying to tell them, like,
They're taking all that air out of your balloon.
So anyways, and this was COVID time, and I couldn't get any toilet paper. I remember this last day because I got on Amazon and I ordered Japanese toilet paper for $65. I still have it wrapped because by the time it got to my house, it was like after COVID. Like, it took 3 months to get this Japanese toilet paper, and there was like a little kitty on it. I'm like, do Japanese people wipe their butts with the cat? So all
No,
said and
they have
done.
bidets. They're not using their toilet paper.
All said and done, I thought the story, I thought this was it, and I was just gonna bow out. And I apologize. I talked to the guys who had invested money, and the only one I'm gonna bring up is Henrik, who I love. He's a director from Ohio, and he's like, dude, don't worry about it. It's totally fine. Like, I was like, well, the movie's gonna be cool, So I mentioned Darius at the beginning of this long ass story. Darius is my landlord. Her son replaced me as Cameron in the movie, and he did fine. He was fine. He shaved his head and had like a little top knot thing going on, and it was like, yeah, all right, man, you do this. He's friends with Jeff, and he, he really likes the Golden Girls, which I thought was weird. Anyways, Jeff likes this
That
kid.
just means he's a stand-up guy. That's
Well,
all it says.
these guys are kind of mean to him too. Like, he's a little weird, but whatever.
I'm not surprised. Anyone
So-
who doesn't fit into their like little
Yeah,
purview of
having sex with
tough
women in
guys.
front of virgins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he replaced me, and I was like, cool, man. And so I was talking to Darius. I was like, yeah, John got my part, and she's like, those guys are dicks. And I was like, aren't they over here all the time? And they're like, yeah, they come and hang out with John, but like, Jeff had parked his like fucking SUV in her yard for like, it was there for like 2 years. I lived in this house for 7 years, and my house was right next to my landlord's, and it's just like, this guy's kind of an idiot. But she's like, just so you know, like, those guys weren't your friends. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of getting that vibe. And she told me, and this is the part where I'm kind of like, fuck you too, Jeff. So if you see this, I know what you did. But she told me that he was like, in a very rude way, telling her that she should kick me and my son out of my house because him and his girlfriend were having a hard time with their house and they needed somewhere to stay. And because he was friends with John, oh, sorry, whatever, his name's in the credits, the new Cameron, because he was friends with her son, she should kick me out, even though I was a good tenant, and so he could have my house. And he was doing this while I was acting in his movie for free and supposedly being his friend. This was before I had gotten fired. He's trying to get me kicked out of my fucking house with my kid. Like,
Yeah, all right, fuck him.
yeah. So, and this is, I found out about this after I'd walked off the like, I was done already, but like, that was just like, wow, fuck you, dude. So some time went by, the movie came out. I had quit in April. 6 months later, the movie came out, and he's bragging and like, I made it through COVID and all this shit. And it's like, yeah, you had everything handed to you by people that you fucked over. So they released their movie. I didn't go to the screening because I didn't care anymore. I did send him around, like, I think a couple days later, I sent him a nice message. I was like, yeah, dude, I just watched your movie. He put it on YouTube, like I had told him to, and or advised him to. And I sent him a nice message. I was like, dude, I just watched that movie. It's so good. And it was a white lie. I never watched it because I didn't care about it. But I was like, it's really good, man. You did a good job. I'm proud of you guys. I'm glad you guys pulled through and were able to. I know how hard it is to get a movie done. And he was like, dude, Andrew, I always liked you. Hopefully we can work together in the future. He did the Andrew, I've always liked you kind of thing. And I was gonna leave it there. And that was after all that shit, So I didn't think about Dollface for years. The story's over. I didn't get to be in my horror movie that I wanted to be in. Those guys are dicks. Jeff is now a professional photographer on YouTube. He does photography vlogs, and he's been doing that for 4 years now, 3 years. He went from doing Dollface to doing movie reviews, as a lot of failed directors tend to do, and then now he's a photographer, which is very stay-at-home wife of him. But hey, do you, Jeff?
I mean, he's finding joy. Go for it.
Brandon-
See where you can find it.
Brandon disappeared from the world. Don't know where that guy is. I think he moved away, probably doing drugs somewhere in a shady alleyway. He guy's a creep. Never want to speak to him again. If he sees this, fuck you, dude. Like, you're an asshole to me. Don't care what you think. And then the drummer, I think he might still live with Jeff. I don't know what happened to him. He never talked to me again. I still talk to a couple of the people. The people who lent out the property, they broke up, and all that stuff happened, and I won't get too far in that. But I'm friends with both of them. And the owner of the property, the dude, he was at my house I'm at now, and we had a conversation about, I don't know, a year or two ago. He was dating a friend of Michelle's, so they came over, and we were having a beer, and we were talking about, the military and stuff, and
Right on.
I was like, what happened with all that Dollface stuff? And he's like, well, I'm pretty sure that's why, my girlfriend and I broke up. I was like, okay. He said some things I won't repeat, but he was catching those same vibes that I caught. And then he also told me, none of those motherfuckers cleaned any of the porn off my bar that they hung up, and they left all that wood and sharp metal hung up in my fucking house. And I was like, classic Jeff. Classic Jeff. Somebody lends you a house to do your movie, you don't clean anything up. You just leave a big fucking mess. Like,
That's an incredible piece of shit move.
and that's the end of the story. That was my final time I've ever thought. And I didn't tell this story. I tried to make a video when it first happened. I went, no, they're working on this movie still. Maybe it won't happen. I don't want to talk shit about something that's not going to... And then 2 years later, I had thought about him trying to take my house. So I made kind of an angry video. I was like, people are still watching this movie. They're reviewing it. People like it. I don't want to fuck with the integrity of this movie. Because they did make... it appears to be a cool movie. Maybe I'll watch it one day. It looks cool. But... And that's where it ends. So I finally got to tell my side of things. Jeff, if you ever want to get on and try and correct any of this, you could try. I'm not scared of...
So, it sounds like, if I may summarize, you got involved recreationally in a film project that didn't so much fail upwards as kind of fail diagonally. And the only thing I'm taking away from Jeff to me sounds like the sort of person who has a bumper sticker on his forehead that says, I didn't come here to make friends. That's just like the vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a movie
Great taste
that
in music.
impressed few and ruined everything involved. Is that what I'm taking away from this?
Yes, I am not the victim of anything. I came out unscathed, other than I have this interesting story. I very much was a fly on the wall in this really fucking weird group of people. And so I think that's why I wanted to tell a story more. Not out of resentment, not out of anger, not out of... I would never want to ruin an indie film. I think it's really cool to catch that light in a bottle, and I think he did do it. You know how the killer threw me into the sharp metal?
Yeah.
Somebody I'm friends with a lot of people that acted in this movie. I'm still friends with them. We've
Right.
This story is they know what I went through, and some people might disagree with me telling it, but that fucking killer picked up a girl and threw her into a tree a couple days after I quit the movie. And she was crying, hysteric. He fucking picked her up and chucked her into a tree.
Good story though.
Thank you. I'm gonna go to bed.
That's really how you're gonna end this? Is you're just gonna go straight to bed? Give me some more milk.
I'm lactose intolerant, man. Remember, I'm a pussy. I'm not a professional wrestler. Think professional wrestler. I wrote the script.
Think whole milk, you puss.
I'll admit something while we're being honest. I did at one point pull Dak aside, and because he was arguing with everything, because he wanted the movie to be more serious. I was like, no, this is my fucking movie. Not serious. And I took him outside because he was arguing with me in front of Kira. I was like, I'm the chief and you're the Indian, Dak. And He double took me like. I was like, I'm fucking serious. And he went back in the house and he was so pissed for the rest of the day that we were filming. But if you watch that movie, I was joking when I said that, but I remember the look I got. I was like, this guy's gonna fucking hurt me.
I'll play him.
The movie he was gonna make, he wanted a stripper to fart in my face. And I was like, do you mean like actually like you're gonna have a stripper fart, like flatulate my... What if I get pink eye, Jeff? And he was like, you don't want a stripper to fart in your face? I was like, no. I don't want anybody to fart in my face. What do you mean fart in my face? Like, is she gonna really fart? He's like, it has to be a real fart. I was like, you're gonna find a stripper who can fart on command and then you want her to do it in my face? And he's like, I was like, what is this fucking movie? What do you mean I'm gonna get farted in the face? What am I doing with a stripper? I was like, Jeff, is this a real... Like, if I'm playing you, did this happen to you?
If Hunter S. Thompson told me that we're going to get a stripper to fart in your face on camera, I would believe Hunter S. Thompson. I wouldn't agree, but I would believe that and view it as a threat. Like, when somebody else is saying, like, we're gonna get a stripper to fart in your face on camera, my thought is, that's an exciting world that you live in.
Well, I told him, I was like, you know, I'm cool with being like a shitty slasher movie. I don't really want to be in a movie where a stripper's fart. Like the path in my life would require me not to have video footage of anybody farting in my face.
I'm super cool with not going through the Italian 50s to 70s film renaissance of gross, weird, violent sex shit.
All right, we're done. I don't know where to go from here. I'm definitely going to keep making movies.
Therapy.
I did that. I've been to therapy since... Well, I went to therapy before that. I guess I need more, maybe. I don't know.
What is this if not therapy?
I remember when I quit the movie, I was like complaining to Michelle. We had just started dating, and she's like, "Are you like okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." It was supposed to kind of be like my last hurrah before I got my career going, because I knew I would. Like, I'm doing movies again. They're just really small movies with my son, which I would take that any day over Dollface. But you know, it was kind of like it sucked like walking away from that, even though the people, yeah,
I get it.
it's like a fucking cartoon. I'm done, dude. I can't tell any more stories. More stories are popping up in my head. There was. No, I'm gonna stop. We'll talk about my gas station job some other time.
It's spewing forth. Yeah, go ahead. End it here.
All right.
You've sucked out the poison. Just let it rest now.
Thank you, David. I need to do that.
No.
I love you.